Okay. Hi, everybody. This is another episode of Discussions Education. This is Tony Alberts, and with me is...
Yolanda Lemus.
Yeah.
And Sam the teacher.
Yes, that's right. You won't ever guess where he's at, what with me telling you what school I'm at and him saying his name is Sam, but at least now you have to research. Okay. So, I know, we were just talking about Westworld. Sorry, that was a crazy episode, the last one.
Haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
Don't spoil.
she's not there yet, so we won't spoil it, but oh man, that show's interesting.
Yes.
I don't know, I just wanted to talk with you guys today. Okay, so last week I talked with Carews and I talked with Jimmy Brown, just kind of about their take. But during that podcast, Jimmy said something that I thought was pretty interesting. He's like, as a black man in America, I'm used to this kind of negative, it's kind of how it is. You get by, you survive no matter what. But then he was like, throughout Trump's campaigning, while he said a lot of stuff, he never actually specifically targeted the black community.
No.
Whereas your guys' communities, he most certainly targeted.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of curious, I guess, what are your feelings? What are you guys thinking of? Obviously, in this case, I'm not expecting you guys to speak for all Latinos and Latinas, but just in your personal experience, kind of how did you guys feel when he was elected, and what do you guys see happening?
Well, first off, for me, why he attacked Latinos, more specifically Mexicans.
Yeah.
Again, he was tapping into the fact that, again, our Democrats, and not just the Democrats, but a lot of politicians, but the Democrats in particular, because they've always kind of cowed to the whole we're for immigrants and we are for bringing families, keeping them together who are already here illegally.
Whether or not they did this stuff.
Yeah, but
but
what Trump tapped into was specifically the border war.
Yeah.
And he basically said, very clearly that there are criminals, and particularly these criminals are illegals, and they happen to be Mexican, that is the root, or at least the core of the problem. And that's what he wants to eradicate. That's what he's trying to get rid of. Mm-hmm. But again, just in the blanket statement of, immigrants in general. And then he starts talking about Muslims and all that. And then, of course, hate crimes of Muslims rise. What a coincidence. I just think that he tapped into that illegal criminal element that exists in all immigrant groups. I mean, don't get me started on the Chinese. Sorry, anyone who's Chinese, but it's true. I mean,
don't get me started on the Italians. Sorry, Italians.
That's
or Germans,
true too. Yes.
Irish. No, sorry.
I mean, every group. There's
Yeah.
every group, but again, he just tapped into that, and I think that's just a fear that, again, most people who live along the border, which is again our western states and our southern states, those Gulf states. I mean, he tapped into something there, so I'm not surprised.
At least for me, just going back, thinking about all the statements that he made about this, I feel as though he overgeneralized a lot, and it hurt a lot of people. And just speaking on behalf of myself and my family, right when we heard comments about how, he made blanket statements about how Mexicans are criminals and all that, not just illegal, and my parents specifically were very angry at that, a lot of my family members, myself included. But I feel as though from that moment, we just, at least for me and my family, we automatically did not want this man to become president. And frankly, I didn't think he ever would. Maybe there was something deep in my mind that thought that it might happen, but I was always saying, no way we'd ever elect someone like that. No way would that ever happen. And when it actually happened, it just felt as though I felt as though the country let themselves down. The people of this country let the country down. And, it completely baffles me that someone that can overgeneralize a group like that and say these sort of statements that are completely, just full of anger. How can this man be elected to the highest office in one of the leader of the free world, so to speak?
Yeah,
so.
People who are angry and people who are just scared. He
Yep.
tapped into that group, and he ran with it. And he still, again, people still challenged him. People called him out on it. And he, again,
But he
used
ran.
his
I mean,
words.
the Republicans who did that, he
Yeah.
ran them down.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they got no capital now.
Oh yeah. And so it's going to be interesting to see how much of his policy he can really get through now, because he has alienated his own party. Because I think in the beginning, a lot of Republicans thought, oh, we can handle this guy. We can get the reins on him and handle him. It's like, no, you can't. Because he really didn't need you guys.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Nope.
And he still doesn't. But now as president, he kind of does that.
But even then, and
Yeah.
this is the part that I was bringing up to folks, which is that they're like, oh, like, we have checks and balances. Congress will even him out. I was like, then the Supreme Court. I was like, first off, he's going to put up super conservative people for the Supreme Court.
Roe v. Wade will probably be overturned.
Yeah, and 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to side with his argument as far as it goes, because he's probably going to choose people that agree with him. I was like, but the other thing, too, is that no one in the Republican Party has his media presence or his online presence. Mm-hmm. So even if you got, let's say the first 2 years, you get in, he proposes the stuff that Mitch McConnell was like, well, that's not on our agenda.
Yeah.
In 2 years, Mitch McConnell's up for re-election. Mm-hmm. I was like, and you're telling me if Trump goes in and pulls that same groundswell from those states, Mitch McConnell state, which has a large number of those people, that Mitch McConnell isn't going to be scared of that. I think that would be foolish on McConnell's part. Yeah. He would be doing what the Democratic Party did, which is, let's underestimate this group again. Mm-hmm. Because those folks aren't going to rest until they start seeing the things happen.
True.
I just think it's going to be a difficult and interesting 4 years. Like, I understand where both, like, a lot of the sides are coming from, and they're like, oh, well, it might not happen. Let's see where it goes.
The first 3 months are going to be interesting.
100 days is where we're going to figure out what's going on.
Because just the fact that he isn't part of the establishment, and he ran on that big time.
But then you put everybody in the cabinet who is a part of the establishment.
Exactly. That's the funny part too. I'm thinking, okay, well, you just did what you said. Okay, well, again, I didn't vote for you, but okay, again, give the man a chance. Give the man a chance.
As we
he put Bannon in.
Honest,
Bannon doesn't really have any experience.
To be honest,
politics.
Although I did not vote for him as well, we do need to give him a chance. We have not seen him in office yet, and perhaps you never know. He might even be one of the best presidents that we've ever had, or he might not.
I wouldn't go that far.
But
okay, that's okay. We have it on record.
We need to make sure that we.
That's right. The brown people in this room all think
that we offer some sort of support. This is the man who's going to be.
Yeah, I think the most disappointing thing for me right now is seeing the people, and even a few of the kids saying, "It's like, well, he's not my president." Well, let's just roll it back a bit.
Yeah.
He is the president-elect, but once he gets sworn in, he will be our president. Whether you support him or not, he is still going to be our president. So let's get it straight first of all, okay?
I guess, but at the same time,
have always been the most vocal. Young people have always been the most vocal.
Yeah, but at the same time, look at the past 8 years with Obama. Like, I've seen so many people say he's not my president.
Oh,
yeah.
He's a monkey. Like, the most racist, terrible, terrible shit. And you're just like, why then, like, do those people get to turn around and say, like, well, you guys need to act like adults?
Yeah, that's
and that for
side.
me is like that point of like, I want to choke you out when you say that. Like, that is the part where it's like, you can't treat me like trash for 8 years and then turn around and be like, why are you guys acting like this? Why can't you act like grown-ups? Just accept the results. It's like, why didn't you do that 8 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm like, what I'm really interested in is, when was the last time you had a fully controlled House,
I cannot remember,
Senate, presidency, and ultimately a Supreme Court?
Wasn't it under
One sec.
Carter?
Sorry about that, folks. I have to pause it when there's an announcement. Anyway, you were saying.
So are you referring to, like, we actually had a Republican president, or just
or
the
any
okay.
like all Democratic
or
all
Republican?
Well, under Carter, that was a Republican-controlled houses on both sides.
Okay. But he was a Democratic president.
But he was a Democratic
That's
president. And then I'm going through with... we're being interrupted now by another history teacher. Go ahead.
I didn't realize I didn't know for the history meeting.
It's all good. Oh, we're just
talk to Lindsay's parents right now. Anything I
Oh.
Sorry. Again, listeners know this is going to...
Is it on?
Yeah, it's recording.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Listeners know I record this at school when I'm interviewing folks because it's just the easiest place for us to meet at. So Yeah, there's always interruptions, but
Okay, so
Sorry.
Carter was a Democrat, but
Yeah.
I believe that was a Republican-controlled House. And then Reagan ushered in, and that, I think it was Reagan, I want to say, first term Reagan, because he was Republican.
and then
and
the
the
House and
Congress,
Congress Republican?
was Republican, but then there was an election of the House of Reps. I think it was
and did they become Democrat?
and then they became more democratic. So then you saw the change, the flip again.
Okay.
But I'm trying to think now. Okay,
Was there a
Reagan,
Clinton
Yeah, that's
near
what I'm
the
thinking.
end?
Clinton, it was
You got a lot done.
Republican.
Was it?
No, he was. I know it was Republican, but I couldn't remember if
I
like
couldn't
the
remember the
last
first term or the second term,
where
yeah.
he became mostly. I feel like he had a
Democrat.
Democratic House.
I think at the second term, in closing, it flipped.
yeah.
So maybe Clinton,
But Bush.
Yeah.
Wait, did Bush
George
have?
Papa Bush.
No, second
baby
Bush.
Bush?
Yeah, baby Bush. Didn't he have?
No, it was Democrat.
Yeah,
it
he
was
was Democrat both
Democrat
times?
the whole
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Okay,
Just wartime
Yeah.
kind of changed.
dude,
Yeah.
America, you need to figure your ish out because, like, clearly, right now, the Republicans have set the precedent that if the House and Senate are opposite of the president, nothing's going to get done. They showed that for 8 years, even though we didn't change it.
I think the last time it was a fully all the same political party. Jesus, this is now going back to the 50s, everyone. And I wasn't born yet. I think it was Eisenhower.
Yeah.
I think Eisenhower was the last.
But
president
Eisenhower was
full.
kind of legit. Like he was the last of the old school Republicans of the like. All right, well,
Yeah.
we're gonna
General.
we're gonna
He's a
take
general,
care of our
yes.
people. We're gonna try to do this, but we're
Oh,
gonna be
yeah.
conservative. And you're like, okay, thank
Total
you.
domestic policy, but he did put in place a foreign policy,
Well,
a
yeah.
firm one, because we just came out of a war, and then
Yeah.
Korea was happening. So
Yeah.
definitely. But and each president is stronger in one policy than another.
Yeah.
I don't remember, a president being strong in both.
Nope.
I don't think
Either
it's
foreign or
really
domestic.
happened. Yeah, it's either or.
I've seen him weak in both. Sorry, Carter. Love you, man. But
Yeah, sorry, Carter.
I mean, so
I
that-
loved you too, Carter, but
Everyone loves
oh,
Carter.
but
Well, that was the thing. It's like, that's why I posted last night. I was just like, listen, like I can hope that Trump is a failure as a president without hoping for the fall of the country. Carter was a failure as a president, and the country had rough times, but it was fine. Like if the people he's putting into his cabinet are any way representative of who and the policies he's going to enact, I 100% hope that they're a failure. I have to.
Yeah.
I was like, I have to hope that they are a failure to go through legally or however he tries to push them through. I don't see though how they would then recover them. I think the Republicans not enacting the policies that Trump is pushing, if they were like, no, this is not sensible, I think that party's done. And I honestly right now feel like the Democratic Party is done.
oh yeah.
Well, as it is now.
Yeah.
Obviously, it needs to change completely.
Yeah.
You know.
I know.
Well, I just always felt that too. The Republican and Democrats, they just need to step aside. The news coming in, you have to usher in
that's
something
fine.
new, something different. I mean, it'll still be around. I mean, early on, Republican and Democratic parties evolved.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I just see it now.
I mean, they weren't even the original. They were the
No,
Federalists and the
no.
Republicans, and then
And the anti-federalists,
Federalists, anti-Federalists. and it became
Wasn't there a Whig?
the Whig? There
The
was a
Whig?
Whigs
There
at
was a
some
Whigs,
point,
yeah.
but we didn't have any Tories. Not like
No
not like the
Tories.
British. But
Screw you, Margaret Thatcher. Screw you,
Yeah,
lady.
exactly.
The Iron Fist. Or Iron Lady. Sorry.
Iron Lady.
Thinking of a
Iron
different
Fist.
movie.
Damn.
Sorry. Thinking of a different
Iron
movie.
Lady.
Sorry. Maybe we can edit that out later.
No, sorry. Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, so are you guys? I mean, here's the weird part. I mean, we are in that transition period for history standards.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys changing anything what you're doing to meet that aspect of concern that the kids have? Like for the second half of the year, I know you're finishing up Vikings and Norse
And we're looking at
mythology and stuff.
technology right now.
Okay.
We're still on that wave. And
Okay.
how technology, right now, we're looking at the tech of the time, which was ships.
Yeah.
And so right now, I think as I go further, and then I get into the unit on religion.
Oh,
And
that's when you're gonna.
yeah, I think that's
No,
when
that's a good one.
I'll
Yeah.
touch upon that. And yeah.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
about?
That's the second year. I'm not trying to do too drastic of changes, but no, I'm looking to the future. I'm kind of going to be going off of your guys' curtails with thematic and
Yeah,
doing things
I
like
think
that.
I've really enjoyed. If the election hadn't taken place, or if the election had gone differently, where the kids didn't feel have such visceral fears, and like I probably I would be moving on to my next unit already, and we'd be good. But like the nice thing about going thematic is like I can take my time with this. I'm like, all right, well, yeah, we're gonna do a little extra time. We're gonna go a little deeper, and the kids are like, okay,
Yeah.
It's a little more interesting in 8th grade. Taking that, I'm like, okay, well, we are still on the colonies. Like,
Yeah, but again, in your subject, 8th grade, you are looking at government, and for us, I mean, we are talking about government and leaders, but at the same time, though, too, I think I just address the issues as they kind of come. Like again, the day after.
Yeah.
I mean, when we were on election day, I had it going on in the background, and the kids were just really excited and going, "What's going on there? What do those numbers mean?" And they started asking questions. So I addressed it then.
Yeah.
But then the day after, I mean, I think they were like us; they were just all stunned. Like it was quiet. I mean, there was some. They were vocal,
it was
but it still seems kind of like everyone's just kind of, huh? What just happened? So I think everyone's in a fog.
Are feeling a lot more, and like I mean, that was one of the conversations I mentioned with. Like I had a conversation with someone else where she was telling me like, "Oh, you shouldn't be so worried about this, Albert. You know history." And I was like, "I know history.
Yeah, that's scary.
I know a lot of history." I was like, "That's why I'm freaked out." Like I've seen many situations in history. Yeah, exactly. I was like, there are a lot of situations in history in which the same thing where this kind of like ugly sentiment and people comes to the fore, whether through fear or through like just not having any other options, and that's that honest like, okay.
That's how fascism starts.
Well, people are also like, it's also like people are like, oh, the Electoral College can overturn the results, and it's like only if you want to really start that civil war now. Like if you were just like, you know what, we're gonna have this fight, let's do it. Like, I mean, we could do that, but I mean, please realize that you are 100% going to start a civil war. I was like, whereas like I hate to say it, but liberals. As it goes, the most we're going to do is protest and burn stuff down.
Yeah.
I was like, but very seriously, we've now, in the last 2 years, seen armed uprisings against the federal government, in which, in Oregon, they were just pardoned. And then in Nevada, who knows? I haven't heard anything. My assumption is a pardon as well, but maybe, I mean, if somebody ever knows something different, that's the way conservatives go. So that is an armed uprising. That's the way they'll go in order to make sure that what they want is met. So
I, for one, am scared if there's an armed uprising. As liberals, we don't have guns like the conservatives do.
There's other ways, but at the same time, though, too, to me, it's like, if you want to go out there and do that. Like just recently I was watching, I guess they had a protest at Lake Merritt this past weekend. And so again, as I'm watching the camera pan, I saw very few people of color.
Mm-hmm.
True story.
The people that were more upset, and again, Dave Chappelle did it great on SNL.
Oh,
when
that was such a good skit.
How he was with his, again, don't take this the wrong way, white friends were watching the election. And to see his reaction is exactly my reaction. Like, you guys are acting like, wow, you guys are really taking this hard. Whoa, like, you guys... Yeah. Now it's sinking in.
It's going to be close, but America's not a racist country. And he's like, have you traveled around?
Yeah.
That was the funny thing is like last week on Thursday, before the SNL came out, when I was talking with Jimmy Brown, he brought up the same thing. He's like, for us, why wouldn't you expect something like this? Like, sorry, like we keep telling you guys, America's racist, and a lot of like, and I think that's one of the benefits of this election is it has pushed that like a lot of white liberals who are like, no, overall we're still a good country. It's like, are we?
Yeah, are we?
Yeah.
How do we treat each other? How do we treat our homeless? How do we treat people who have served their time in prison when they get out?
Mm-hmm.
How do we
treat our military members who've served their time and get out?
Yeah.
I was like, come on, just a month and a half ago, California was, the National Guard was getting in crap because they kept asking for money back from National Guard members. That, we didn't mean to send that to you, we need $10,000 from you. And it's like, what? No, you screwed up. They're National Guard members. They served their time. Let them keep that money.
Yeah.
I agree. Like, we're at a rough place in this country. And, and a lot of my friends are like, well, we didn't pay attention to these folks, blah, blah, blah. And one of my friends tried to say, like, oh, in any green policy, they just talk about, like, kicking coal out, and they don't talk about anything about those communities. Like, what are you talking about? I was like, most of the plan is, like, hey, let's educate. Mm-hmm. Let's make sure they get jobs in the new green industries. Let's start it where the coal country is, because those people need work. And guess what? They're dedicated, and they will do a great job.
And that was the fear that Trump fed into. Because both parties, Republican and Democrat, didn't pay attention to those folk, and haven't for years, since the mid-'80s.
All right, sorry.
I mean, just kind of going off of that, it just almost feels like it was the perfect storm of things going on for this to happen. Not only was Trump tapping into this fear, but, Clinton was not the greatest of candidates.
No, she was the worst candidate.
Let's be honest here, okay? So
the fact that Dems ran her a second time after losing so badly to Obama the first time.
Pushed it. And they forced it to us.
People thought that those who voted for Obama...
God damn it. Someday we'll get to record this. Okay. Yeah, no. But, right? I mean, so Obama comes up. He's a nothing senator. He was still a junior senator, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Nothing senator. Whoops her ass. Takes it, runs the party.
Because he ran on that platform, he's a change. He can do this. He's a minority.
Hope.
And it was like hope. Yeah.
But then Sanders comes in.
Oh,
no one knew Sanders. I had followed him because of some of the speeches he made.
But
the consensus is Bernie was loved by many.
Yeah, and the thing
is, Bernie was there in the beginning.
Yes, he was.
He was. He was in there.
Honestly, man.
He was in there. Yes.
And he comes in and he makes a run for the money. And as soon as it's a run for the money, you got to ask yourself as a party, you're like, that one's not going to win. And all my friends are like, no. Clinton's the better candidate, blah, blah, blah. She's weathered all these storms.
I
was like,
she's a safe,
but she wasn't even the same candidate.
Because of all the...
I was like, wait, you're telling me that... I was like, I understand you understand that maybe a lot of things said about her are ridiculous, but I was like, but all those Republicans don't. I was like, and there are a lot of Republicans who are voting for Trump just because they really feel that she is like the embodiment of corruption.
And that she's a woman, to be honest.
Yeah.
A lot of people vote for her because she's a woman.
Thank you for saying it, because I didn't want to say it first.
No, yeah.
A lot of people,
Yeah. But I feel if Elizabeth Warren had run, I feel like she would have done better. I feel like a lot of women would have gotten behind Elizabeth Warren over Clinton.
Yeah, Hillary Clinton, there's just a lot.
There's too much
baggage there. And I think for many who just dislike Bill Clinton, they saw him, if she gets in, holy crap, we get two Clintons in there for the price is one.
Pulling the string.
Exactly. And so they're like, not going to let that happen. Yeah. That's why the head of WikiLeaks, that's why I'm going to say it, had such a hard-on for leaking everything out about the
and
Clintons.
Nothing about Trump.
And nothing about Trump, but he's got stuff. He's got stuff, but he held back. Yeah,
he's like, we haven't vetted this stuff, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, please. Come on now. I appreciate that something like that exists, but at the same time, I'm just like...
But the Republican, their nominees, all the people, 27,000 of them that they ran against Trump, they all represent the status quo, the establishment. So did the Democrats. And I think people that's why I'm starting to read a lot of blogs and posts by people now explaining this is why I voted for Trump.
Yeah.
It all resonates back to he is not part of that establishment. Yeah. He's coming in out from this other sector, and so I'm gonna gamble on that. Yeah.
And they've already lost that gamble. They have already lost a majority of that gamble with the people that he's bringing in that are going to do most of the job for him anyway.
It's the establishment.
It's the establishment.
So it's I don't know, and that's why even now a lot of people because I've got a lot of Sanders supporters on my Facebook feed, and I'm a Sanders supporter, and then a lot of my friends who are Clinton supporters, and they're like, please don't pretend if Sanders won, he would have won. I was like, he would have won hand down, and you need to shut up.
Dude,
I was like, well, he was a populist, and his message was, hey, you poor white people, you poor black people, you poor Mexicans, let's help you first.
And you know what? Bernie had the history of
helping them. Yeah. That was his thing.
It would have helped him, you know, so...
Yeah, he really did.
And he didn't run, and I hate to say it, but he also didn't run on ridiculous gun control measures. Because all of Clinton's gun control measures, I just saw them and was like, you're not going to win anybody in the Midwest with that.
No.
And it's not even, I 100% where they come from, but it's when the more restrictions, the more, especially in areas where they're hunting for food for their families because they're fucking poor, that's you just added another line between like them being able to feed their families, and it's like a lot of my Democratic friends don't understand that about people with guns. I'm like, they're not all psychos.
Gun nuts. Yeah, that's
they're not gun nuts because they look just like an
no.
AK-47. They can't afford that. They need a rifle. They need their handgun, their shotgun. They're going hunting for food. Like, what do you want from these people?
Yep. I know when it's hunting season in Morgan Hill. You know, I don't take a walk in certain areas because it's hunting season. You know, you just don't go for your nice stroll or your hike. I mean, again, you guys saw my post of the wild
pigs
turkeys,
are vicious, so you need
but the boars, shoot those suckers down. But again, the wild turkey, that people are out there hunting for that. People in the area hunt.
Yeah.
And I get it, it's for food.
Yeah.
You know, call it sport, call it whatever, but no, they're hunting, and I get it. I mean, we did that in Fresno, and then that was mostly as you drove through just recently.
I was just
the Trump signs and Pence, and not one single Hillary. Not one single Hillary. Maybe on a car, on a little teeny bumper sticker, but
that was passing through,
maybe. Yeah.
I think it's just that I'm so used to living in the Bay Area that I'm kind of sheltered away from the way other people think, and being from California as well. It's just kind of, I don't really have that.
Gotta travel.
I do. I need to see, especially the rest of the United States, just
don't go anywhere. I hate to say it, don't go anywhere in the Midwest. Or if you do, just say what tribe you're from. So that,
I will not go through Arizona. Sorry, Arizona.
They'll stop me.
There's no reason. I'll fly into you. I'll fly right
Arizona
out.
got rid of Arpaio, Joe, the crazy sheriff.
They did do one thing right. Yes, they did get rid of that guy.
I mean, so I don't know. I mean, it's crazy out there.
Even here in California, there's parts of Northern California I will not drive through because, again, I understand and I get it, and it's like, okay. I
don't know. And my curiosity is, like, if we actually did an analysis of how many, like, the uptick in, like, the racist things that are happening, like, is it actually an uptick, or more people just posting about it because they're like, oh, now we're in Trump's America?
Well, I don't know. We just had a recent one, the Oak Grove teacher.
Oh, I was just reading that today.
The Oak Grove teacher. Okay, so last week there was a rally. They did a rally the day after the election on Wednesday. And the teacher had basically said, I don't have the direct quote, but said, to some students who decided not to stand up during, I guess the band was playing the national anthem. So some students chose to sit, which is their right to do. And as the students stated that they were quiet, they were just not bothering anyone, but they just chose not to stand. So this teacher got very frustrated with them by insisting that they stand.
Here's the quote. Thank you, Sam. It says, "Good luck with being deported now that Donald Trump is president. You guys had it better here than you will over there."
Yep. And that's just a smidgen of the quote.
This is the high school I went to.
This is the high school I went to.
This is I was trying to figure out what teacher it is.
I know which teacher it is, but I won't say because the person hasn't been charged and is being investigated. But I just will say someone in their PE department, and I will leave it at that.
Okay.
Yes.
Damn. I was in shock. I actually was sent that article by one of my classmates.
See, and I wasn't shocked because I faced that having a teacher not in the PE department, but another teacher in a different department saying things like that, you people, or your kind, and it's like, what a human kind? Like, what do you mean? But I knew what, and again, unfortunately, it was a woman too, white woman, what she meant.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and it's there.
I mean, you must have had that experience at some point. I don't know many people of color who haven't had that experience. I mean, I'd had it. Maybe my generation was like the last.
To be honest, I felt it more in college.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I went to a private university. I went to Santa Clara University. Yeah. My majority of the people there are affluent, white, and
private jets, folks. Private jets. We were talking about
private jets. Yes.
Yeah, Polly went to Bellarmine, went to Notre Dame, all those private Catholic schools.
I did not feel as though I fit in at all at that school, and it prevented me from going out and trying to join all of these clubs that I wanted to join, and it just felt as though it wasn't a school that fit who I was personally. And there were other people of my nationality that...
Free ride, folks.
He
had good-ass grades. Good motherfucking grades.
Yeah.
I went there because I didn't have to pay a dime after I left, but... I felt it more in college than I did anywhere.
See, that's interesting. I got it both because, in high school, I had my, it was a freshman physics teacher who was like, oh, I didn't think you were the type to do so well on a project. And he just like walked up, like I was like, what the hell does that mean? Like I'm struggling in this class all the time. I'm working my ass off. I was like, what do you mean I'm the type? Like, and and it was me and my white friend who did this project. But when I was actually able to explain it, he was like, oh, I'm surprised. Like, what? You can explain stuff? And I was like, oh, screw you. But then I went to UCSB, and actually I always tell people this, it was really interesting going to UCSB because I was in the transition year. So my freshman year, majority white. My sophomore year, I got to school on the first day, and was like, where the hell did all these Asian people come from? Because I was like, I used to be a minority, and I was like, oh, all these Asians. My junior and senior year, I was like, oh my God, there are black people and Mexicans here?
Yeah.
My brother visited me once my junior year, at the beginning of my junior year, and we're both from Sacramento, so we're used to seeing, like, everybody, like, everyone.
Oh, yeah.
And we played a game in Santa Barbara, and it will sound racist, I apologize, but we played a game called Count the Black People, because he's pretty sure that in the week he was there visiting me, he counted 3 black people, and one of them, he's pretty sure he counted them twice.
Wow.
And we're just like, this is crazy. This is awkward and weird, and just like you feel dirty. And like the Santa Barbara is full of kids who are Mexican, Guatemalan, Colombian, but they're not going to the university.
Well, even think of Santa Clara, the area around it, completely
we used to
diverse.
play that game, but we played it with Native Americans.
Oh,
yes.
shit, yeah.
Yeah, because
more tough.
I mean, it goes to that joke, like, do you ever see a Native American family at a Denny's? It just goes back to that. But, yeah, college, too. They just reminded me of, I remember I had a professor, and it was I'll just say my military history professor. He's since retired. He's not there. But when we were getting our finals back, one of the mid-finals, I had written a paper on Patton and the bulge in Sicily. And I was probably one of 3 females in the class. All the rest were white males with probably, there were no black people in that class at all. Now that I think about it, it was all white male, 3 females. I was the only minority female. And no Asians either. So I remember he's passing back the papers, and he's ripping into all of us, like, these papers are crap. Where did you all go to school? Blah, 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 just tearing into us. And then as he's like, and as you come up here. So he's calling people's names one by one. Everyone's like, oh, God, like this is just feeling like crap. I mean, this guy just ripped us all a new one. Then he calls up my name. So I go up to get my paper, and he goes, correction. There was one goddamn decent paper, and it had to come from the female in this class.
Wow.
And I thought,
Shit.
holy shit.
That's exactly it,
like,
right?
Okay,
Fuck you.
Am I offended, or as I take that as a compliment? Like,
Wow.
I didn't
You're
know,
both.
like, how to react.
Yeah,
And
wow.
everyone else is just, like, looking at me like the deer in the headlights,
sort of ostracizes you
looking.
from the class,
it
too.
does.
Yeah.
Because, again, now granted, I looked at my grade, and I got a B+. There were some, things in there that he corrected me on. But okay, a decent grade.
Yeah.
But it just seemed like the majority of the class, had failed. Basically, that's what it sounded like. I'm pretty sure everyone got mostly D's and C's. But, again, as he called my name, I'm thinking, oh, great. Got up there, and he's like, oh, wait, correction. There was one paper. And I'm like, oh, shit, I'm just going to get demolished. That's what I thought. Nope. It was the opposite.
Wow.
But
But
even then,
that compliment was so backhanded.
Yeah, it was very.
And
It
and that's the
was!
thing. It's like, how often do you get like, oh, this is excellent student, great research, great writing. You could all like learn a lesson from her. Boom. Like that would have
just
been a
leave it
compliment.
at that, yes.
Bam, done. But no, it's like all of you others. Look at even this brown kid could do this shit, and
This
you're like,
female
come on,
brown kid.
yeah, this
could
female
do
brown
it.
kid.
Holy shit!
Are
Like,
you a
what was it?
lesbian? You're like,
yeah,
no.
exactly.
All right.
And
That
I
would have
would've
been
probably
3 out of
3 out of the
You're like, good God. No.
And maybe a Republican.
Yeah.
Hey, there you go.
Exactly.
Who knows?
Oh,
But yeah, I remember that. Yeah, college.
I don't know. I mean, it's people say like, oh, it's growing pains. It always gets better before it gets worse. But the thing that keep bringing up in my program is just like win. Like, people are like, oh, change takes time. I was like, why? Like, why does change take this much time?
Yeah.
Like, is it because you are not fully embracing it?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, because, change in your own life, you
Happens
really
constantly.
push it, you can make it happen very quickly.
Very quickly.
Like, I could have immediate change if I wanted to.
That's what happens when you have a lot of people.
Well, that's true. At the same time, it goes into a question of like how are you approaching that change? Like I feel like black people have been fighting for their rights for 300 years now, and clearly they're not done. you know, Mexicans.
How much more time do we need?
Well, and that's exactly it. You know, it's like, oh well, it's all served. But then as soon as Trump's elected president, how many posts have you seen with the N-word in it about like, oh, you're getting sent back to Africa? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, that family is more American than you are. They've been here since, like, the 1700s. Your family came over in 1890.
Yeah.
Get your ass out of here.
More American than you are.
Yeah.
And that's what they have a hard time understanding.
Yeah.
I try to tell kids, I was like, there are Chinese and Mexicans who are more American than half the Americans here. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, they've been here. They built the railroad.
They've been here generations.
I was like, a lot of families came over in, the 1900s with, like, the big industrialization. I was like...
Or after World War One. That's when they came over.
Yeah.
After they survived TB. That's when they came over. So, yeah.
Polio.
And polio later. Well, polio by the 30s. Yeah, polio.
I don't know. I mean...
20s, sorry. 20s.
I mean, Yola, you would have more. Is this... As presidential elections go, have you ever seen an election where immediately afterwards there was this sort of sentiment and feeling in the country?
No.
Yeah, that's new.
No, this is new. Yeah, this is brand new. I haven't seen this.
Now, I question that, Yoli, not necessarily to the scope, but maybe there was something to that sort when Obama was first elected with the Republicans who voted against him. Oh, there's a black man in the office. Oh, this is going to be incredibly...
Yeah, there was, but they use code words.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's educated. Oh, he is... What did they call him? He's an organizer, a union organizer.
Yeah.
They use code words.
Yeah.
But for me as a minority, I knew what they meant.
Yeah.
They just didn't want to come out and say it.
Sure.
Now with the Trump, it's out there.
Yeah.
It's very clear. Like, oh, okay. At least this guy, I'll give Trump that credit. He didn't sugarcoat it. He just put it right out there. Yeah. So like, okay, thank you.
What liked about him, to be honest.
Exactly. And I think he just said what they wanted to say. And now they feel like they could just say it. And it's okay.
Sam, the teacher, is out. Thank you for being part of it.
No
Peace
problem.
out.
Take it easy. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Yes, have fun at the basketball game.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking about that the other day. I was like, after Gore and Bush, I know you had that feeling for a little bit, but it wasn't like, oh my God, like our country is ending. That wasn't the feeling necessary. It was more of like, oh my God, what the hell is happening?
With Gore, though, once he conceded so quickly, like he didn't fight it. Exactly. That was my first
I'm sorry,
reaction.
what a limp dick.
But
because
at the
pussies
same
are strong.
time,
sorry, guys.
Yeah, thank you. He's being sensitive to the gender here. But no, I mean, Gore, had he not maybe conceded so soon, but again, he may have had his reasons. One, he was just, limp dick. Or simply it was like he didn't want that big divide, like that, again, that
God damn it. Well, this is possibly my most interrupted podcast. But yes, anyway, you're saying.
Yeah, so maybe with Gore, I mean, he never really came out and said why he conceded so fast. I mean, he gave some blanket statement. I mean, we can probably go back and find it. But I'm just really now curious to know, like, maybe deep down he just conceded because he's like, this is just going to create just a whole lot of mess. Nothing's going to change. The electoral vote count is there.
Yeah.
Why do I want to go into litigation over it? Yeah. That's not going to help the country. So you know what? I just got to walk away. I got to let it go.
Yeah.
So that could have been it too, but yeah, I'm sure maybe it was there too.
And I'm sure what Sam was pointing out, like after Obama. God damn it! Sorry, guys.
This is the best podcast ever.
Every 5 minutes, beep beep beep. Here's secret information and student names and adults that we need. You're like, damn it! Come on. Okay, clearly this is like where I need to figure out where to record this stuff. Anyway, but. No, I mean, yeah, I'm sure, and like Sam said, I'm sure, like, after Obama, quite a few Republicans on their side felt like, oh my God, like, we got beat by, like, a junior senator black man. Like, wow, this is terrible, and he's Kenyan, and he's a Muslim. Like, just joking, Trump.
Again,
those aren't real.
Yeah, the birther movement, that was Trump.
Yeah.
That was Trump. Sorry, that was Trump.
I don't recall that. That was started by Clinton.
Yeah.
Like, no, it really, really wasn't. We didn't have a Clinton leaks back in the day. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We might have murdered some people, but hey.
I mean, that's the thing too. I'm just like I wasn't going to be happy with either of the candidates. I really wasn't.
Yeah. Even for me, Hillary would have been more of a watch and see. It would have been, even though, again, most of my friends who, I do hang out with, have dinner with, and go play cards with, or just hang out, they were so Clinton supporters.
Yeah.
And I just kept quiet.
Yeah. I mean,
I just kept quiet.
And
like, they understood why.
Yeah, exactly. And anytime I did try to engage with it, it was like, oh, you believe those lies? I was like, listen.
No.
I was like, I don't believe those lies. Like, you keep lumping me in with all these Republicans who are spouting this stupid shit. I was like, I told you before, her policies are war policies.
Yeah.
She is going to 100% go with war. She's not going to change the system.
No.
She still wants to criminalize marijuana. I was like, so you got all these things that for me are just like a maintenance of a system that we all agree is hurting people.
Yeah.
And you guys are trying to convince me that she's awesome and that she's the choice that we should have. And I'm like, you're insane. You are insane. I was like, I feel like both parties are honestly right now what's wrong with America.
Yeah.
Of the like just so blind and party line and just willing to compromise their beliefs, not in a positive way.
No. I mean, right now the mirror is being held up to us.
Oh, yeah.
And we're not liking it.
Oh, yeah.
It's because, things are right now are ugly and messy and sloppy.
Yeah.
No one wants to look like that.
No.
That's why we groom ourselves. That's why we put a comb through our hair. We brush our teeth. Some of us, we put makeup on or add a little cologne to us, because we want to be presentable. We want to come out as our best.
Yeah.
But how do we wake up? Sloppy. We're a mess.
But I think on the one side that is like, okay, I obviously see a lot of like the news stories about kids in other states dealing with like a lot of the racism and blah blah blah. But I know for a lot of our kids, as much as Sam was like, I still think they're dealing with it. I really think our kids are on the uptick, and I think unfortunately it's because they realize that the country is as fucked up as our lives. Okay, I can deal with that.
Yeah.
I
think so.
Okay, shit sucks. And it's not just my life, it's the whole country. Mm-hmm. Okay, we can move forward and just live our lives as usual. And I'm really trying to get them to we can do something about that. Here are small things that we can do that are appropriate, that will send a message and that can get our concerns out there to people. And that's something I don't think they realized they could do before.
Yeah.
Because when I'm telling them about the project plan, they're like, wait, we're going to do that? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, and hopefully, if Trump is ever online and someone say, hey, you should see this video, I was like, hopefully he watches that video. Mm-hmm. I was like, we're not making it to attack him. We're making it because based on his campaign, he made us scared. And here is how we're addressing please address our fears.
Well, if he's going to keep that promise of, again, I'm going to make changes. I think it's going back to what you were saying earlier, was that, okay, you need to address first and foremost the poor.
Yeah.
All of the poor, regardless of color or gender, the poor.
Yeah.
Then move that up to our veterans.
Oh, 100%.
And our...
I'm really tired of politicians talking about veterans.
And our firefighters. I'm going to throw firefighters in there. Not so much police. Sorry, police. But
sorry, y'all.
Yeah, but firemen, veterans, those that work in the National Guard, those that do things that, again, protect our property immediately, which would be a firefighter, and those that defend our country.
Yeah.
Then move up the scale to working families. Those families right now that have been so screwed over by both Republican and Democrats when it comes to taxes and just we're not trying to live above our means. We're just trying to live and just live comfortably and try to have something known as a savings.
This tax cut will be good for us.
Well, we'll see.
If it's 25, if it's a 25%, if it knocks it down to 25%, that's a couple more $100 a month to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not. I hate to say it. I mean, that'll be good for anybody who's lower middle class and up.
Yeah.
Much better for the people higher, but
yeah. So I just think that there's got to be this chain, that okay, Trump, your cabinet, focus on that, and then work your way up.
Yeah.
And then see how far you get. I think that'll be the big win over in the turnaround, but again, we don't know.
Yeah,
he's not in office yet, and
I mean, just
said
based
a lot
on
of
his
stuff.
on the first 100, so I was looking at PBS published or republished his first 100 days, and what he was going to do is, so the first 8 points were stop business as usual, introduce term limits, all this stuff. And I was like, I actually 100% agree with those first 8 points.
Mm-hmm.
But these are the things we are going to begin discussions of. I was like, oh, shit.
It's not about discussions.
And then when it got to, like, here's the first thing we're going to do. We are going to start getting those immigrants. And I was like, damn it. Okay. And people were like, oh, he can't do that. I was like,
you can.
He is in control of all the law enforcement agencies in this country. So if he gives the directive, like, hey, this is what's happening, unless obviously city by city and state by state, if, like,
if there's
LAPD
pushback.
just posted like, we're not going to comply with the immigration reporting.
Well, it's like what us teachers do. We don't report kids to immigration.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
that was a big issue, not that long ago in the 90s.
Well, that's what I was telling kids. It was like 10,
yeah.
15 years ago when they were doing the sweeps.
Yeah.
I was teachers made a decision at that time, like, nope.
No.
In schools, if you come here and you're trying to get our kids, you're not getting them. I was like, and that's going to maintain. I was like, 100%.
Exactly.
The kids were like,
Exactly.
oh, wow. Would you stand in the doorway for us? I was like, I will stand in the doorway for you.
Yeah.
Like, really? You think you'll stop them? I was like, no, I will be tased. I'll piss myself. They'll probably beat me with a baton for a little bit. You hopefully have run by that point.
Yeah.
I was like, don't stand there watching me pee myself. You need to run, kids. And they're like, what? That's funny, Mr.
That's true.
Alberts. I was
but,
like, you
but
think
no,
it's funny now?
I'm being
Yeah,
serious
exactly.
though, kids. It's like if I always tell the kids at the beginning of the year, by the way, if anything ever happens to me in the room, I'm down.
Yeah.
Don't touch me.
Yeah.
Okay, just go next door immediately to the teacher and tell them you need to call the front office. We probably need to get an ambulance here. We don't know what happened, but Miss Lemus is down.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. But don't touch me. Don't do anything. Just leave me there.
I don't have any money in my wallet, kids. I'll cancel all those cards as soon as I'm out of the hospital. Don't go there. No.
Yeah.
Our good kids won't do that.
No. Hopefully they'll be able to save off the bad kids.
They will. When it comes down to it. I mean,
yeah.
That's the hard part. Like,
I think even the bad kid would probably be the first kid going, oh my God, I've got to help her. I think so.
Oh,
I always think that.
she needs mouth to mouth. No!
Yeah, no. That's why I say don't touch me. Don't touch me. And don't do a selfie either. Like, oh my God, she's down. And then do like
Click.
the peace sign and click. Yeah, don't do that either. That would be embarrassing.
Mannequin challenge. Oh, damn it. Get help.
Yeah.
No,
I was just thinking about that too with Trump. I'm thinking, ooh, I hope this doesn't come back to that time when, INS was doing all those roundups and then they try to get the schools to say, nope, not going to happen.
But I think that's where it's going to go. I hate to say it, but I really think that's where it's going to go. It's going to come down to that challenge.
Yeah.
Schools that don't comply will probably lose federal funding.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, he's 100% capable of doing that. He's in charge of the Department of Education, which I thought he was closing, so I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm like, still waiting for those departments you're not going to appoint heads to, Trump.
Yeah.
I think you're just going to close.
I don't know.
I mean, as far as it goes. Am I worried? Yeah. Like, I'm worried a lot. Obviously, I'm, raising
I still have
kids,
knots. I still have knots on my stomach. I do. My husband jokes and says, honey, we might have to pack. And I go, mm-hmm. But I'm thinking in the back of my head, you may be right.
And listen, one of my cousins is a pretty diehard Republican. I grew up with him. I love him. I totally disagree with him.
Yeah.
Like, when we occasionally go back and forth, it gets kind of like a little heated, but we still try to be somewhat respectful about it. But he posted one funny fucking meme the other day, and I laughed for probably a good half hour, and it was like, hey, for all you liberals talking about moving to Canada, what the fuck's wrong with Mexico, you racist?
Oh,
and I was like, oh shit, that was so good.
I was
so good. Oh my God. I was like, because all my friends are like, oh, we're moving to Canada. And I'm like, oh man, I'm going to get deported to Mexico. Like, I don't know. And they're like, wait, what? I'm like, I'm just saying, I'm brown. Like, they're not going to.
I could blend in. I took Spanish in
I don't
high
even
school.
have to.
I don't have to learn French.
I don't have to move. They'll move me. I can just wait out on the
Just
street.
wait.
They'll just
That's what I
pick me
said.
up in a bus.
Yeah, just have that backpack ready. That's it.
Shit. Oh, this is the Mexico bus? All right, I got to catch this one.
Yeah.
Like,
I even when my husband was teasing me about that, he goes, "Oh, babe, don't worry, they'll come for us next." And I'm like, "Oh, geez." I go, "All right." And he goes, "Don't worry, though, baby. I still have my citizenship over there. We just have to fix your citizenship papers for you to stay over there with me." And I said, "Oh, that's true."
Please, Mexican government will be like, "Oh my God, all this money."
Yeah.
Like, thank you, people coming in. I was like, I actually was. I'm curious of what would happen if like just middle class liberal Americans all just moved en masse to Mexico. like, what would happen? I
Gotta
mean,
be real careful with that one too, because again, as the Chappelle episode pointed out, and this is why I love Chappelle. I mean, he gets it. It's like, people don't want to pick their own damn strawberries.
Yeah.
People don't want to pay so much for their damn strawberries. Don't freak out. In maybe a year or two, avocados are $5 each.
yeah.
Lettuce, $3.50 a head, people. Your corn, which you enjoy, $3 for $1.
Yeah, because you can't pay white people
$3
shit.
for one. Okay,
Yeah.
$3 for 1 ear of fucking corn.
Yep.
Okay, that if you send off all the people who, again, are the illegals, you're gonna see. You better be ready to pay the price.
Yeah.
Literally
No.
and figuratively, pay the price.
And it's those poor ass families in the Midwest who are going to hurt the most.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really it. Like,
They're going to step in, and kids, like they used to do before here in California. You went to school for half the day.
Yep.
But when it was picking season or planting season, all you kids, you got a lunch, and they put you on the bus. You went out to the field. You went to work.
I don't know, man. That might be some good work.
That actually might be good some work. Yeah. It might be good.
I'm not saying, but we shouldn't do that just for the brown kids. I think all kids
No,
might
all
get
kids.
some. Yeah, get those Cupertino kids, get those Mountain View Los Altos kids.
Yeah.
They'll be like, oh, this is a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you've been here for 20 minutes. Now get it down on your goddamn knees. You got to fill that bucket.
I wouldn't give them 20 minutes. I give them like 2 minutes. Well, that's why they're all covered. I was wondering, like, it's 100 degrees, but these people are wearing scarves and gloves and the hats, and they're all covered in their denim. Aren't they hot?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, they're hot, but there's
Better
a
than
reason.
dying.
Yeah, there's a reason for it. So you guys will wake up to that soon. Yeah.
Well, we'll see. I mean, that's the terrifying thing. We will see. And it's
Yeah.
not just like, oh.
So we'll come back to this podcast and
shit.
revisit
Yeah.
it.
Well, actually,
and we'll
definitely-
see if any of this came true yet.
We'll have a podcast definitely after Trump is president. And
Yes.
we'll see what's going on then. All right, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you for listening. Today was a short one. I got class and, well, Lemus
Sorry
was
for
kind
all
enough
the interruptions. Yeah.
Yeah, this 20-minute podcast with 30 minutes of interruption. All right, guys, take it easy.